Yeah.
So like now you have kids. Like, what do you tell them? Like, are there words in Ciara's house? You're like, no. You don't label yourself this way. Like this is how we talk about ourselves.
I think the greatest thing is like, really catching my kids if they say negative things about themselves. Like, I can't, do this, or I'm not good at math, or I'm not good at this. Like, I'm really big on removing that negative thought, and I'm just consistent. I follow through with like, you can, like, you're so smart, you're so capable, like always speaking life, like you're so amazing, like, you're so awesome, like you're so fun to be around. Like if there's friendship challenges, like I try to like go opposite of the things that like, I know their little minds start to process. And I'm like, let me speak life into them. So the biggest thing for me that's been a standard internally is like, we don't quit, right? Just because something didn't work out and maybe you didn't ace a scenario doesn't mean you're a failure. To me, failing is when you quit, right? So that's kind of like my mentality. And I'm really big on that, passing that down to my kids. Because I think that's really served me well. And yeah.
Well, it's interesting. So you have, this giant career, but from what I can see, like you didn't have a safety net growing up. You were kind of like an army kiddo.
Yeah.
You moved around constantly. You didn't have connections in music. And so how did you learn to take this risk, to go big?
So I always say I'm an only child. Okay. I think that when you're an only child, you have a lot of time on your hands to dream and like, imagine things and like, just do all that kind of stuff. And I've naturally been a very ambitious individual. And I don't know if it's my only child in me. Like, it's kind of like, I'm going to get what I want, I think I am. But most importantly, I was given a lot of love growing up. We didn't have a lot financially, but my love made me feel like I was so rich on the inside, especially. My greatest thing, though, what I did is I'm always big on like, you can't get to where you want to get to in life without a compass. And that was like a natural instinct for me. So the moment I decided I was going to be an entertainer, I literally sat in my room. I was probably 13-ish years old. And I had a goal sheet. I was like, I'm going to write down my game plan. Because I had decided, I had a conversation with my classmates at lunch. And I was like, we were talking about life after high school, and it's time to start talking about, the colleges you're going to go to and registering and all that stuff. And I'm like, I run track, I'm fast. I am leaving a couple people in the dust, but I ain't breaking records. Okay. I did long jump, triple jump, 4x1, 100. I mean, like I was thriving, but again, I was realistic. I'm not breaking records. That's holding up a gold medal just may not be for me. And I also did cheerleading, which I loved, but I was like, that's not going to be my ultimate job, but I love it and respect the sport. Shout out to the cheerleaders in the world. Okay. It is a sport. All right. But I was like, I know I can sing and dance, and never trained to do any of it. Like it was me just kind of being within myself again, only child, energy. Like you're like, I think I have some talents here. Like, okay, let me channel these talents. And I knew I wanted to be an entertainer. And the moment I decided that, like, me being a determined little girl and like ambitious, I said, let me write down my game plan to get there. And literally 2 weeks after I wrote down my game plan, it was a yellow blue line paper. I've got to go to my mom's house to find this, or my mom and dad's house. But basically I had 3 goals. My first goal was to get discovered. And then I wrote down how I was going to do it. So I was going to put myself in talent shows and, find ways to be exposed so someone could discover me. And I remember signing up for the national anthem at my high school. It was the first thing I ever did publicly, right? Now, mind you, I'm coming raw. I ain't had no training. Nobody's told me, how to do this. I'm just doing what I thought I saw on TV, or like, what I was studying. So I'm singing the national anthem, and then on and the rock is red glare, I crack. And then I'm like, sorry, the bomb's bursting. But I mean, I was really so nervous. Okay. But that was the beginning, right? I said, put myself in talent shows, go do the national anthem, just do anything to be exposed. That was the first goal, get discovered and how to do it. So the second goal was, once I got discovered, to sell 3 to 4 million albums. And then the third goal was to have longevity. Okay. So this was like my little short list, my short goal list.
At 13.
Yeah. So I did the national anthem, talked to my friends at school about this is what I'm going to do, at that same table. We were talking about our goals post high school. And one of my friends remembered that I said I wanted to be an entertainer. And he comes up to me like 2 weeks later and he's like, hey, see, there's this group. They're looking for a third member. Do you want to audition? And I'm like, yeah. So I get on the phone, I start singing, and I sound a hot mess. I don't know why they wanted to see me, to be honest with you, but they still wanted to see me. Maybe my friend like pumped me up and was like, I'm telling you, she's so talented or something. I don't know. But they still wanted to see me. I went to the group's house. And this third member they were looking for, I was probably like the fifth person to audition for this. Like they had already had 4 girls before me kind of thing, right? So, and the third member just was not working out for this group. But I made the group. Was there, made the group, and then clearly that didn't work out. But I still had my eyes set on the prize. And I ended up pursuing my solo career with the same person that discovered the group or was working the group. Signed my first admin deal when I was 15, and then I signed my first recording contract with a major label at 16.
That is wild.
Okay, so now goal 1,
check. Get
discovered, God, it happens, right? Then put out my first album, Goodies, when I turned 18. Well, the song Goodies came when I was 18, album 19, all in the same year.
That was 18.
And I put that out, and then thank God, we not only did 3 to 4 million albums, we did 5. And it's still rolling, right? And then the third goal was to have longevity. And so now I sit here talking to you, 21 years later since I put out the album, but I just always been a big believer that you can't get to where you want to get to without a compass. And I think the most important thing is just reminding myself the power of speaking life and manifestation because it is real. Like a lot of the things that have happened in my life, it's happened, of course, by working hard for it, but also by speaking life into it and like manifesting it. And I'm really big on like when I say, I want to make something happen. Like once I believe it and then I start saying it, there's something that just happens psychologically for me. And I just start to will myself in that direction, right?
Yeah. So if somebody wants to manifest like you, what is the process? Do you write it down, then you say it out loud, and you start taking action to it? Like how do we copy Ciara?
For me, I would say you got to have a vision first, right? And we got to be realistic with our vision. I knew I could sing and dance. I knew I was raw at it. Like a lot of my training happened in front of the world in real time. Wow. Right? I didn't have a lot of show experience or any of that stuff. But, I had a vision. It was very clear. And I think that vision that you have is got to give you goosebumps.
Oh, that's a good one.
It's got to give you an exciting feeling, right? Because you're going to need that exciting and passion feeling more times than you can imagine, right? Because it's a passion. They say when you do what you love, you never work a day in your life. So it's my passion that like gives me the will and like sustains me through it all because I love what I do because it's hard sometimes, So I think it has to give you that excitement. Like, are you going to be ready to wake up every day early in the morning, have some sleepless nights, be tired as a dog, eyes red, everything, exhausted, mad at the world sometimes? Like, are you going to be ready? It's like, are you going to be ready for that? Like, and that passion, again, is what's going to like push you through it, right?
Especially because you do the stilettos too on the stage, which was one of my glaring questions is how does that we'll get to it later, but I don't think people quite understand. I don't do what you do, but like even a YouTube video, the 42 takes you have to do for a YouTube video, I can't even imagine. Right. Because
the passion, right? How. I'm like, I want to make this great.
Yeah.
So you might go to bed, sore, beat up, shot. But it's like, for me, what do they say? Sometimes beauty is pain. Like, it's worth it for me because my mission is to be the best I can be. My passion is what drives me. Like, I want my fans to have the best experience and visual, right? Like visual experience, performance experience, song experience. So again, it goes back to my passion for that, right? So I'm always like, the day that I stop having that passion and love for what I do, then I stop.
Then you're out.
Because I know I won't. I mean, what you have to put into it, there's not enough zeros to quantify, the hard work, or at least you're trying to work to get enough zeros to quantify. But who knows? You may never get it. So that's why the passion is so important.
Yeah. Yeah. There's this quote from Emma Bombeck. She was like an old school feminist, but she says, like, when I stand before God at the end of my days, I hope I will be able to say, I'm wrung dry. I have not one drop left.
I love that.
I know. I always think about that.
Yeah.
Like, that's what it takes. You got to like do the work that is fun for you, that other people feel like is work.
100%.
And then you win.
Yeah, 100%. So I would say the passion, would say, you know, once you've locked into that vision of what you want to do, it is big to write it down, like to write down your goals, like surrounding it, you know. And then if you have other goals in general that aren't even connected to it, like write down your goals. Because again, like what's your compass? Like, you know, for me, in this very moment in my life, I'm overdue a whiteboard session. Like I love whiteboard sessions.
Love a whiteboard.
Right? You know, like you put everything up on the board. It helps you to see clear, like, what do you have going on at this moment? And then what do you need to do less of? And then are we staying focused? Yeah. You know, so like, again, check your compass. Set your compass and then continually check it.
Yeah.
But yes, write it down, right? And then there's this part of like believing, right? Believing in the vision and then speaking life into it.
I love that line. So when you're whiteboarding, is this like, do you and your husband whiteboard?
We whiteboard together.
Stop it, that's adorable.
We do.
Who's in charge of the marker?
Our team both get on the board. we are both so passionate and so determined together to accomplish our goals that we have individually and together. You know, it's important, I think, for one hand to know what the other hand is doing. We both feel that way. Yeah. And so we love a whiteboard because it also, in the midst of our like hectic lives, because his world goes a mile a minute, my world goes a mile a minute, our minds go a mile a minute, but it helps us to kind of be like in sync in the midst of the chaos.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and we love doing it with our teams, you know. So, yeah, I think if you have those visualization, you know, writing it down, believing in it, writing it down and speaking life into it, those things work, you know, and they have worked. And then obviously, you know, I'm a spiritual person, so I believe in praying over what I'm trying to accomplish. It's really significant and it's a very important piece, you know, like I believe it's Habakkuk 2:2. And please forgive me if I'm misquoting it. All of the people that like have the Bible down to the T, which is one of my goals, right?
They'll tell us.
But, you know, it says, you know, write it and make it plain. You know, like it's a really, you know, or faith without works is dead, or there's these different things that they say, like it's like, you know, you got to believe in the vision, you got to be clear in your vision, don't be all over the place, like hone in on what you really want to accomplish, like, and then go for it.
Yeah, you know, my pastor the other day said something that I was like, that's so good. Sometimes I feel a little guilty asking for like material things or stuff in life, right? And he was like, who are you to think that God is so small that he can't handle that and everything else? And I was like, I don't know, but I feel that, you know? Yeah. So is there, I love that you're talking about faith. I think it's like we were talking about it before. It's having like a little bit of a resurgence. Like it's okay to talk about it publicly. I feel like for a while it wasn't so public. But I'm curious for you, like, how do you integrate faith into what you do? Your husband and you are both faith-based from what I can understand. And what does even praying over it look like to you? Oh man,
you have to have faith because you're going to be tested. Right. You're going to be challenged, going to fall, right? And when you fall, what do you go to? Like, what is your, like, you know, what do you fall back on? Like, what helps you to get back up? It's your faith. Like, it's the ability to see the light at the end of the tunnel. And for me, I'm always looking towards the light. And even if I have a moment where I have to pause and regather myself, I'm sincerely, I really mean what I'm saying. I'm not even saying it just to say it. Like, I always see the light at the end of the tunnel. My philosophy is also too, like, the sun is shining no matter where I am. Right? You get people talk about like the weather and they're like, you know, living in Seattle, they're like, it's always so good. I'm like, listen, the sun is always shining no matter where I'm. Like, that's my mentality. Right? But you have to see the light because, again, it goes back to that passion, right? Your passion is going to drive you. But man, when it gets tough and you're like, can this really happen? Like, this feels impossible. This feels insurmountable. Like, I got to stand on something. And my faith is the truest thing. It's the one thing that also gives me peace. It's the one thing that makes my weight or the heaviness of things feel lighter because it allows me to believe again. It allows me to, like, you know, reinstill my hope, like to get things where they need to be and just to stay the course.
Yeah.
So I picked up my phone because there was this thing I looked up about faith the other day. It strengthens us during trials. Because we live in a sinful, fallen world, we will face difficulties, but our faith is what helps us remain strong during hard times. We have an enemy, and it's our faith that acts as a shield to protect us from his schemes and plots. Above all, taking the shield of faith, which you will be able to quench all the fiery darts of the wicked one. Ephesians 6:16 says we should not be surprised when our faith is tested. James 2:3 says that the testing of your faith, I love this one. I can just say it without looking because it's one of my favorite scriptures, but the testing of your faith produces perseverance so that you may be mature and not lacking, right? Good. And it says before that to consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, when you face trials of many kinds, for the testing of your faith produces perseverance. So you will be mature and not lacking, right? That's the whole. But think about that ability to consider it pure joy when you're in the toughest part of your life, or feels like the toughest part. To have faith, to be able to smile through it all. Oof. What a feeling. I remember having like a really hard time, it was some years ago. And this is a scripture that Russ and we love. It's one of our favorite ones. And I remember him saying it to me, and it was almost like a weight was lifted because it was a reminder, like, there's going to be something so good. There is some gold in this valley.
This moment. There
is something that's going to be so good that's going to come out of this. And I've just got to stay the course, keep my faith. So, yeah.
Is that ever hard to have faith like that in Hollywood? I mean, I'm such an outsider, but people say so many things about the place and how crazy the music world is.
World. It's really interesting. I will say this. I believe that my spiritual foundation is really important. And I think if I went to school, I'd be a psychologist, I swear. Ooh. There's something that I'm really fascinated with about how the mind thinks and processes. And I do think that in our industry, it can be a very dark world. Because oftentimes people are finding themselves, one, you got to be mindful, don't glorify man and things. Mm-hmm. We are in an industry that makes you, kind of pushes you to do that. You look at others and they may be way ahead of you and you're like, I want their life, or, awards, you feel like that's the high point, all these tangible things that you can't even take with you anyways, right? But people sometimes, in the Bible, it also says, what good is it for a man to gain the world and lose his soul? You can have everything and have nothing. And I feel like that's a more commonality in my industry than not. And I think the examples of that is in, when people, I was reading something about, I want to be mindful because I don't want to feel like I'm calling someone out, but someone, an actor who was massive, he's living homeless at this moment. He went through some tough times. And then you see another moment where someone's kind of you can see them mentally battling things, all these different scenarios. And it's real, and you can help want to pray for people. But it's man, you just pray for God's protection, right? I'm we got to have a foundation of, for me, God and Jesus are important for me, faith, all those things. You have to. And then run your own race at your own pace, don't be distracted by what's happening to the right and left of you. If someone's having a successful moment and they feel like you work harder than them and why am I not there? Don't even question it. Your journey of success is perfectly designed for you. Your big moment's going to happen for you when it's supposed to happen for you. So celebrate those moments. Change that energy, flip it. Don't be jealous, of it. Actually celebrate those individuals. Give them a pat on the back. All those things, and just be good with where you are, right?
That's so true, and hard to do, but so true.
Yeah.
But you've seen the full spectrum. You've gone through tons of cycles. I'm sure has there ever been a moment where you got you felt like the whole internet hated you? You got a ton of hate. Really?
Yeah. For sure.
It's every Tuesday. I know it's hard.
No, I mean, listen, I don't know what one great that hasn't, reached some of the highest points, that hasn't been told they can't, or hasn't been tried to be knocked down. And that's a part of the process. And again, I think those moments, they make you more bulletproof. Because I'll be darned if I let a human tell me what I can and can't be. I'm so sorry. You can try and write it all kind of ways. And I'm not gonna lie, sometimes I do. I'll be taking names. I'll be taking screenshots because I'll be I'm gonna run this back. when I go platinum again, like, oh, remember, like, okay, noted. Sometimes I actually do that.